Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic, where we talk about cars, boats, trucks, and electric cars too. Anything you put gas in and plug up to a wall, we talk about it. What's up, Mr. Ray?
I find those electric cars shocking, truthfully. Yeah, we'll talk about those too. That's right. We'll make fun of them, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. We will do it.
So I
So
seen I seen in the news that Trump's going to pass something about those cars that cut off at the light.
the stop
Give me
start
color.
systems. That's called the stop start system.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I actually haven't worked on one, but I heard cars have a second battery,
Really?
and I was always wondering about like what's the starter life going to be? Because
Yeah.
now if you're driving around all day, you may have 50, 60 starts in one day, you
I
know?
thought about that when it came out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just don't make any sense to me. And I haven't talked to anybody that has one that likes it.
Yeah, and I've rented a few cars that had it, and I was always able to disable it.
Mm-hmm.
At least, and sometimes what you had to do is disable it like when you got in the car, you would disable it and it would stay disabled until you shut the car off. And then when you started again, you had to disable it again. And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I honestly don't know anybody who's had a failure, to tell you the truth, which I find kind of strange,
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not working on them every day, so I don't see stuff every day now, so I don't
So
know.
it's probably going on what about 10 years that they've been out, right?
Probably. I remember when I first started, like I'd be at a light and you'd hear something like, "What the hell is that?" And then I didn't even know what it was,
Mm.
until like a year later, and then I found, oh, that's that stop start nonsense. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, more hardware. Another battery, starter. Plus, think of it: if you're at a light now, the car's not running. Now you don't have your AC or your heat if it's hot or cold. So,
Yeah.
and I don't have a car with one, thankfully. You know,
So yeah, that's a good question. Like if you're sitting at a light and your car turns off, I've been in one of my friends has one, and I don't think the air turned off though. It stayed running.
all right. So, I mean, the blower could certainly stay on, but you're not going to have
The full
AC unless the compressor's running.
yeah.
I mean, you'll
Unless
get
they
what's in the
change the
system,
compressor
but
to
that's it.
electric.
So that's what I'm saying. If it's a long light, or or you get a series of lights, I mean, I can see, a hot day in the summer, going to the beach, wherever you're going, and there's long lines and the car. So I did find out though with the last car that I rented that had that, I was able to trick it where I would slow down to the light and not come to a complete stop. And
Mhm.
just as the car was about to stop, I'd let off the brake again a little bit and let it move a little forward. And then I would ease on the brake, and the car didn't shut off.
Oh yeah.
It might have been because it was that make and model car. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's too much to do when you're stopping at a freaking light. I'm sorry. You know, it
Yeah.
really is.
And my thought is, if you got to get out of the way fast, I don't want something controlling how fast I can get out of the way.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? If I
Good point.
press the gas, I want it to be instant, not a quarter of a second later.
So, all right. On that note, this has come up a lot over the years. When you drive a manual transmission vehicle or your bike, do you leave it in gear and hold the clutch in at a light, or do you put it in neutral?
I leave it in gear.
Because that was
Unless
the argument to be
unless
able
I'm
to get, yeah, to be able to get away. And then with motorcycles, like I said, there was a lot of argument. People said, yeah, but you know what? If something happens and somebody bumps you in the back, they may make you lose your balance. Now you're going to let go, and that bike is in gear, and it could, maybe run you over. I don't know. So
yeah.
I just remember I was in Colorado back in '79. My sister and her then husband were taking us around, and we would drive. And he had I don't know, it was like a '72 Chevy van, with 350, and it was a three on the tree. And we were just talking about it and whatever. And he said it's got the original clutch, but he already had like 100,000 miles on this van. He was
Mhm.
like on the second engine, but the original clutch. I was like, well, why didn't you change the clutch? When he did the engine, he goes, it was fine. We didn't need to change it. I was like, okay, that's weird. I said, how do you still have the original clutch? And he says, I'll tell you why. He goes, because every time I stop, I put it in neutral and take my foot off the clutch. And he claimed that was the reason. Now, it's part of it. It's part of it. Because when I sold my Mazda 3 a couple of years ago, I was the original owner. I had it for 17 years. And the guy's looking through my records, my logs, says, wow, you didn't have to do much to this car. I said, no, I was the only driver, and I maintained it. And, you're going to see brakes, batteries. I did struts once. And he says to me, wow, he goes, I don't see a clutch on here. I'm like, that's right. And he said, why? I said, well, because I was the original owner, and I was the only person to ever drive this car. And I know how to drive a stick shift. And I said, and I'm not doing burnouts in it. It's, it's a little Mazda. I said, and I said, I can tell you're not 100% sold yet. He goes, yeah, it just doesn't make sense because the car had 100,000 on it. I said, okay, the car has a hydraulic clutch. You cannot adjust that clutch manually. It adjusts itself based on the dynamic between the clutch and the fluid pressure. Right. I said, when the clutch goes bad, your pedal will drop because it can't adjust enough. I said, look where the clutch. I said, start the car, see where the clutch pedal grabs. I said, it's going to grab about a third of the way up off the floor. I said, and that is indicative of a clutch with plenty of meat on it. And he said, yeah, I drove it. I see what you mean. I said, there you go. I said, just because it's got a clutch doesn't mean it's got to be, bad. Because driving habit does have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Yep. Letting it slide or slip and all kind of stuff like that will kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. My buddy Bill, who's watching, says cars don't turn off if certain accessories are on. Yeah, but I know. Well, I don't know what certain accessories. If you don't stop hard, also the system doesn't turn off. Okay, that's what I found. His Terrain has that issue. Yeah, I did see that. Now I don't know when it wouldn't shut off. I don't know what options would have to be on because, like I said, I've been in a car with AC, and it did. This is a few years ago. It did shut off. So it may be make and model or manufacturer based. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's a dopey system. I'm glad that he is doing away with it. It's because it also adds to the price of the car, obviously.
Yeah.
But like I said, I surprisingly don't have information about if it's added to the price of repairs. So I'd be curious to know.
So Obama put that into place in his administration.
All right.
And people really don't realize how bad he was on the automotive industry. Terrible. Yeah. He like really put the hammer to the industry, the whole industry.
He wasn't too good on Iran either.
Yeah,
like a couple $1.6 billion not to build a nuclear weapon. Okay, they go and do it anyway.
Yep, terrible.
Yeah.
So that was the reason I shut down my transport company.
Was it?
It got bad in 08. Yeah, 07.
Right.
In 07, no, I'll say end of 06, 07, things started slowing up. And I was really pumping exotic cars at this time, and I called some of my clients, and they were like, "We're going to slow down. We're not going to ship." Or I was doing some of the sports teams. I was moving their cars for spring training,
right.
And I called one day to confirm, and they was like, "Well, we're gonna rent cars down there instead this year."
Wow.
Like, okay. So I call out west, talk to some of the the rich people out there, and it was like, something is going on, man. Hold your money.
Yeah.
So rich people knew ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right, man. 08 hit, it was a wrap.
Yeah. Wow, that's something. But yeah, I'm glad to see that. And like I said, will the price of cars come down? No. Because it's like just like with gas and oil, man. The gas stations, the next day the pump is changed, but now they have 10,000 gallons in the ground that they paid less for. Now they're charging you more for it, and it don't come down that fast. They always say, it rises like a rocket, but drops like a feather.
Yep.
So
it's crazy. And like you were saying, with older cars that, I like to go back to some older stuff because you can fix it.
Yeah.
It's not as expensive to fix.
Right.
It's all around better.
I'm happy to say right now, here in New York, we have safety inspections for older cars, but anything that's 25 years or newer has to get an emissions inspection.
Mhm.
And right now, 5 out of my 7 cars are safety inspection only.
Oh, good.
So I'm breaking. Yeah, I broke the curve. I'm on the good side of inspections right now. So, and those are easy. And that's only a $10 inspection.
Yeah.
The other one's 37. So
All right, man.
saving
Oh.
money in retirement.
Yeah.
I'm spending in other places though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So how's your? You still got your SS?
I do.
Yeah.
I'll have to uncover. I had it covered for the winter. I haven't even uncovered it yet, but
Yeah.
I'll have to get that out. And I got to move that to get my Pontiac out. We were going to do a Cars and Coffee this week at the shop, but we called it off because Saturday they're saying rain, which is kind of good because now I can get the Toyota, the Camry, into the shop and just spend a day changing all the fluids. I'm going to do a major brake fluid flush, oil change, tranny filter change, get a good look at the brakes, get the wheels off, and really get a good undercar inspection going. So that's good. Now I get to spend a day in the shop.
Right.
That's good. But we got a show out here this weekend, and the big boys are coming. Actually, it's the Tobey show. What is it, next week? 2 weeks is the big show at the beach. I think Kindig is coming in. Bill Goldberg.
Oh yeah.
I have the flyer in my bag upstairs. Who else? There's somebody else. There's another guy, another builder coming in. Yeah, they got some money, man. They got some money to pay these guys, and they probably put them up. Probably give them, yeah, they probably take care of them real well.
And then King Dig isn't cheap.
It might be Richard Rawlings. He may be coming in too.
To get Dave to come, it's a bill.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
And most of the time he brings his rig and stuff too. And he sets up his trailer.
Sells merch, right? You got to sell the merch. Yeah.
And he'll bring a couple cars with him. Nice trailer, man. He has a you go up inside the trailer and then you go up on top of it. Has a deck on top. It's pretty nice.
Now, I have seen one of his cars. There was a shop I went to. The guy, it's a storage facility where he'll store your cars, and you call ahead and they'll pull it out, get it ready for you. Everything has battery tenders on it and everything. And he was showing me a Mustang, and he goes, "Yeah, this was one of my cars." He goes, "I had Kindig do it." No, I'm sorry, it was Camaro.
Oh yeah.
He had a Mustang there too that had some Kindig stuff on it, and I think it went to him twice for different stages of work, and he was showing me. I mean, and I've never seen a car. Well, I have. When I've seen the Ring Brothers cars, I have seen a car that perfect. But the Kindig car was like right there with the Ring Brothers cars. I mean, just like you look at it and say, holy shit, I can see the difference in this car and any other car in this place.
Yep.
And he explained to me, he's like, yeah, when you get a car built by him, he says, you'll get bills and you'll get updates incrementally. And you may get a bill 1 week and it'll be for like 200 hours. It was like, put fender on, gap fender, take fender off, adjust fender, trim fender, put fender on. It's just all just on and off of a fender for 200 hours or whatever. And it'd be like, okay, there's like, 15 grand or whatever. I don't know. You just send another check. You just send him the money and then he'll keep going. I'm like, oh man.
Could you imagine?
No.
I have a hard time buying parts at the parts store, and these guys send checks to have a guy take a fender on and off.
Yeah, like I was talking about last week, I had to do that inspection on that 930 Porsche, and you had to see this guy's setup. It was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, how they had that garage with all the glass around above. Well, this guy's garage was below the house, and he had side walls of glass and 3 huge glass garage doors that had shades that came up over them. Place was heated and cooled, ceramic floor, had 6 cars in there. Bill, you're going to love it. He had a 65 Corvette, a 327, I guess, I don't know if it was 300 or 327, 325. It was a 327 4-speed car, power windows, 18 option car. And it was a green color. I forget the color he told me it was. It's not Goodwood. It was the color they had in 65, Gary Green. It was a shorter name, but it was a green exterior with a green interior, and that was rare. Green bucket seats, green carpet, green dash, green seat belts. He says, very rare to see this.
Yeah.
He had the knockoff wheels, side pipes, the whole 9 yards. I was like, wow. And that one, he wasn't even talking about that car. He didn't even want to. This guy's had 18 cars.
Yeah.
He only had 6 at his house. And I mean, I knew I was in because he starts, as soon as we go down there, he starts telling me about his Countach that he has. He goes, this is a unicorn car right here. He goes, it's never been titled. He goes, I've owned it since 1983 or 4, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never, well, this guy owns a body shop, so he uses a dealer plate on all of his cars.
Yeah.
He's never titled it. It's still from, Lamborghini.
Wow.
And it's like, it's a one of none or something. I don't know. It was another rarity. This guy likes collecting stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I said, wow, this Porsche is so nice. It's so beautiful. I actually asked him this on the phone. I said, why are you selling it? He goes, I got 2. I'm like, oh. So now when we're talking, I'm looking in this garage. There's a Corvette. There's the 930 Porsche. He had had the Countach. He had a Ford F40, the anniversary year, the 100th anniversary year for Ford, and he had a Pantera. And those are cars that he's owned, for a long time. The other ones are in some other facility somewhere else. But he says, yeah, he's got a lot of 2 for cars, like 2 of the same. And he says, I'm 67 years old. We're the same age. He says, you know what? He says, I'm starting to think like I don't drive a lot of these cars. He goes, I do try to drive them. I do rotate them, but you can only do so much. Mm-hmm. So he said, I'm starting to sell off the ones I have 2 of, and I'll keep the one that I want. I said, good, so you'll die with all the good ones. He's like, yeah, well, probably. But I'm like, okay, well, at least you got a strategy. You got a plan. Yeah. But I know he's in trouble because he spent like 20 minutes just telling me about this Countach. I'm like, dude, I got to look at this Porsche, and then he tells me, okay, he goes, I guess you're going to have to look at the interior, the engine. You're going to have to open go through the compartments. So I said, well, yeah, I got to do a thorough 6-page, inspection. He goes, okay. As he's sitting on his stool, because he ain't leaving, he's going to sit there. He says, just do me a favor. He goes, whenever you need something open, just tell me. I'll open it for you. I'm like, oh, man.
Long day.
I was there for 3 hours. Usually I could do an inspection. If I talk to the guy, it'll take me about an hour, maybe a little more. 3 hours. 3 hours. But it was good conversation. I mean, he was telling me a lot of cool stuff. And I went for a nice test drive and all, but I'm like, oh, man. It's like, all right, listen, I need the door open now. Okay, I'll get that. So then he tells me I'm going to go for a test drive. And, of course, he's going to drive. And I actually found out that sometimes it's better if the owner drives because now I can really pay attention to what's going on and what I'm hearing instead of trying to drive at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the car has, bolstered seats, side and bottom. And he says, okay, well, just to back up, the car still had the original plastic over the driver's floor that said in black print, dealer remove or remove by dealer only. So this was from the factory that plastic was in there, right? So he says, okay, I'll put a towel on the floor on the passenger side, so you don't get the mat dirty. I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. He goes, okay, so he opens the door. He says, all right, let me tell you. I go to bend down. He goes, hold on, let me tell you how to get in the car. I got to get a lesson on how to get in a car. He goes, yeah, put your butt on the seat, sit sideways. He goes, okay, now swing your legs in. I don't want you to crush the bolster on the seat. And the first thing I thought to myself was, well, as I'm sitting sideways, my legs are over the bolster.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you got to fucking hit the bolster either way. It's like, it's like 100,000 miles of that is going to ruin him. Like, me getting in the car is not going to stress crack your fucking leather. But I said, okay. I don't argue. I said, okay, we'll do your way. Yeah. So he was a nice guy, but he was a bit of a nut, a bit eccentric.
That's great. That's why he's rich.
So tomorrow I'm doing another one, Now the girl sends me a text yesterday. A 2016 Ferrari 488 GTB coupe.
16.
Beautiful, beautiful car. White, red interior. Oh my God. So I text her back. I said, "Hey Jamie," I said, I was just busting balls. I said, "Hey, what happened to all the muscle cars and classics that you told me I was going to be doing? That's like why you hired me, because I know those cars. I don't really know these cars." And she wrote back, she goes, "Yeah, I know." She goes, a little while ago, that was 90% of our business. She goes, "Now we've been seeing more of the exotics." I know, because I've been inspecting them. I said, "What's up with that?" I said, "Don't tell me everybody just all of a sudden has more money." And she said, "No." She goes, "A lot of these are from lease companies. They're calling for the inspection because someone wants to lease it, and they want to make sure the car has the value that it should have, I guess, so they could, float the loan or whatever. So they want to get a value." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Kind of makes it easier, because this one I'm going to a shop. He's got a bunch. It's not a personal car, so he don't care about it. It won't be as bad as Mr. Porsche.
I don't know if I told you, when I was out in Arizona, we stopped at Frank Lett's shop.
No.
Man, he got a nice shop, man. He has some stuff in there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing nice work. Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I do stuff like that, and I come home and I'm looking at this guy's house. He's got water views on both sides, and he's, and these cars out the ass. I'm like, I come home like, oh, what the hell am I living? What did I do wrong, man?
Yeah, what did I do wrong? Yeah.
Holy shit. My basement's a fucking dungeon. This guy lives, he's got he has a Bourgette's chopper. So if you remember, Steve Bourget was building bikes back in the 90s. Nice, they're fat, fat frame, single down tube. Not a really long chopper, a mid-length chopper. Mick throws a lot of billet stuff. That was what was popular. He says, "Yeah, I used to ride it around, local and all." He goes, "But he's building a bar around it." So he built brackets coming off the axle and then off the front of the frame to anchor it to the floor.
Yeah.
And he's got a guy building a stainless steel framework around it, like a table, and he's going to enclose it in glass. And the Speedo, it's a single Speedo up between the risers, and that kind of juts out a little. He's going to have the glass cut around that, so the Speedo will be above, it'll be up on the bar.
Yeah.
And he's going to light it and all. I'm like, wow. I said, let me know when you're having a party.
Have you seen those guys that are doing epoxy? They're epoxying whole cars and motorcycles and everything in the floors, and it's crazy what they're doing. Like really nice cars and bikes.
I know you can do it, and I got some somewhere. I know I have some upstairs. I used to do that as part of my job, but on a much smaller scale. Let me see. I might have one in here. I used to have to section like electrical connectors and things to do testing on them. I think I have them all upstairs. And I had a machine. It was a press, and you'd raise the press, you'd put your sample on it, and then you would lower the press and you'd put in this powder, and you'd close the press. It had a ring heater around the outside of it, and you heated it up. And when it got to the right temperature, the powder would melt, and then you would pressurize it, and you let it cook for, I forget, I don't know, it was probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Then you'd shut it off, take the heater off, and let it cool by itself, and like usually the next day. And now you'd have this nice round puck of clear lucite. We had black also, and the sample was in it. And then I could do my grinding and polishing, and then put it on a microscope and get pictures of it. So they're doing that just in a bigger, and this stuff was like lab grade epoxy or lucite, whatever the hell it was. So it was very, very clear. It was optically clear, and that's got to be what they're using.
Oh yeah,
but just tons of it. Yeah, I had them everywhere.
It's the same stuff they do countertops and stuff with.
Right.
And they pour it. I seen them do I think it was a Mustang, the whole car. Like
and it gets hard as a rock. The stuff is absolutely hard. Yeah.
Let's bring the fellas in. Brian was shaking his head, so I'm sure he's seen it.
Oh yeah. I'm building a table right now with Hot Wheels.
Are you?
Oh.
Yeah, I got a section in the tool truck. It's like 24 by 18, 24 by 20, I think.
Mhm.
And I built the frame. And the biggest problem I have is laying the cars in there on how I want the cars to lay. Do I want them laying on the wheels so they're which direction? I keep saying I should just pour the stuff in and just throw them, and however they float, fall, and go, and that should probably be more natural. But I keep moving the stuff around and can't figure out how.
Well,
and the funniest part, I've got, of course, over the years, I want to do the floor in the garage with all the magazine articles and Hot Wheel, the packaging.
Mhm.
I just want to roll the clear out and just lay it all down and put another coat on it. And however it fall, again. But I've been working on this table for a while, and I don't know to lay the car sideways, up and down. I've gone.
So basically, that's the Hot Wheels version of a shock tower to you.
Shock. Yeah.
Shock tower in your Mustang.
Because you just can't decide. So it was funny. I sent Brian a picture. This guy had in his basement, I see this gumball machine. And I'm like, whoa, what's with the gumball machine? And he had it filled with Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, he goes, I had some extras. He goes, I didn't know what to do with them. Kids will come down, they play with them. I don't want to play with them. So, and he just, I said, well, how'd you decide the placement? He goes, I just threw them in. Threw them in. I figured,
yeah.
And you know what? It looks great. It looks freaking phenomenal. I'm like, that's
my luck. See, my whole luck would be that I would have I did this on my back wall where my toolbox is. Over the years, I had laid pictures, just regular pictures, articles, stuff like that. I put on the wall, and I did it with Elmer's glue, Elmer's clear glue, and I took one of those small little brushes, and every time I put one on, I just painted it onto the wall. So it's just like this mirage of pictures and so forth. And then of course it's like every once in a while you get a funny situation or a funny spot, and you're like, I can't get something to fit in there,
Yeah.
And so like with the floor, like I said, I just got all kinds of stuff, and my luck would be something that I would really want to be shown would probably fall upside down and you couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? But the cars, I did that. I made a really small 4x4 piece with broken Mako tools.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what I was originally going to do with my counter and the tool truck.
Right.
And somebody said, that's like really big money. And I didn't really think of it, but I realized if I don't send the tools in to get reimbursed, I mean, for me to do something, 24 inches long by 20 inches deep, that's a lot of broken tools. I mean, that could be $4,000 in broken tools. You know what I'm saying? That'd be the most expensive part.
So do a Craftsman and Pittsburgh tools.
I know, but come on. I mean,
I know. No,
I'm not.
You got to do it. You'd have to do it the right way. Yeah.
All right, here you go.
Yeah.
That's AI.
Yeah, this AI.
I saw that video. Yeah, I did see that. I caught it on YouTube.
Look at the guy sitting on the roof, on the hood.
You know how many gallons of that stuff you need?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Wow. Yeah, and there's your Shelby. Yeah, encased for the rest of its life.
I saved actually on the 125th. I think it's the 125th anniversary. SIGs that my dad from the Secret Service. My dad was going to have them sent out and done that in a frame.
That's cool.
And
huge bucket.
It's a shame to do something like that to something that could be used, which now can never be used.
Right, and so he
crazy.
was going to take. He had gotten, I think he had. Oh, I have them, and the girls. I don't know. The girls might have taken one of them, but I had anniversary. They had an anniversary badge, 125th anniversary badge for their
Right.
shield. You know,
Right.
so he was going to take his shield and the gun and put it in a frame and have them done in that epoxy. And he was, of course, it was one of those days I stopped by, and he's sitting at his desk, and he's got the gun and the shield and his credentials, and he's sliding them all around on this little square, you know.
Right.
And I'm like, it reminded me. Remember back in the day when I'll tell you how old, you know, when we had the game with the numbers that you had to slide in the little box to line them
Yeah.
back up.
right.
That's
Right.
what it looked like. You know, he was sliding the stuff around. I said, Dad, what are you doing? He goes, this is what I'm going to do. And I said, oh, no, you're not. I don't think you're doing that. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not taking the gun and dipping it, and we're not soaking it. You know.
I tell you,
And,
Lewis, the one right under that, the hot lava floor looked really cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because like you said, that like the car. Now that's
That
in
pink one
case
looks good.
You're never going to use it again. You know,
So
I mean, I
yeah,
guess you know what? Unless you took the gun and the badge and put them in a clear lucite box, and then in case the box in a
Yeah.
bigger frame, you could always break it out. That is a cool looking floor.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
That'd be cool if it
man,
was real.
that is cool. Yeah.
So I did my countertops in epoxy like this, and it looks like marble, but it's
Yeah.
really plywood and Bondo.
Wow, that's great.
There you go, Brian.
yeah, there's one table. See right here.
Yeah.
This is-
Okay.
I sit there and
That's easy.
yeah, it seems easy, but man, I can't commit.
I know. That's a trend with you. I know.
I
That is cool.
and then like I said, I played around where I drilled a little hole and put a light so the light came out,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
LED light and so forth.
Sure.
I've been messing around for shit, I can't tell you how long.
Yeah.
Right.
And I keep saying, just do it. Just pour it in there and walk away.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, it's Impala.
Bury the Impala.
That nose looks kind of short.
Yeah, we did like a little thing with like seashells and stuff like that. We made like some kind of design, and we did the clear epoxy.
Yeah.
And then we left it outside. It turned yellow, and then it started melting.
Right. Yeah, you need a stable medium, and they
So
do make
apparently-
epoxy in different grades.
Well,
Yeah,
they
so
make,
apparently we didn't get the right stuff.
They
Right.
make a UV stuff you mix in it too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it doesn't turn yellow.
Yeah.
It was all dripping. It was like it got all
Yeah,
disgusting. I was
yeah.
like, oh, you know, we're in Florida. It gets 90 plus degrees with the sun, and probably was cooking. So I was like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
that was
pretty
our
cool
trial.
stuff. Check this out.
Oh wow.
You can get creative.
Sure. That's neat. Yeah. I mean, the only other thing about that is you can't redecorate. If
You
you
got to do
try
a color.
it, it's like, what are you going to do? You got to jackhammer it up.
Yeah, then those LEDs are eventually going to go out, and you're going to have like one LED broken. And it's,
Well, but the good thing is LEDs can last a long time if they're quality LEDs.
yeah, you definitely
Yeah,
buy
don't get
quality
cheap.
ones. Don't,
Yeah,
don't
you
do
want the
Harbor
good
Freight
stuff.
ones. Yeah.
Right. No, that's beautiful work. That's great stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Papa
great.
Pro jumped in.
Hello,
It's Papa
guys.
Pro.
So,
Yeah, I wanna do. I regret not doing my floors with the epoxy. I painted the garage floors,
Uh huh.
but now looking back, I'm like, this paint didn't hold up. I should have spent the money on epoxied it, and now the garage has a whole bunch of crap inside of it, so it's like almost impossible. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
take
Yeah.
everything out.
I wanted to do mine so bad, but I have what you got to do. One of the big things is you got to take a piece of plastic and tape it on the floor, and give it a couple days and see how much moisture you get through the wall, because that's another thing about keeping the paint from sticking.
Yeah.
And I have too much moisture because especially when especially with the crazy weather around here, if you have a hot day then a cold day, and like I said, if the garage is open, I get a little bit of a moisture slick on the concrete,
Right.
and it would never stick right. I mean, it would always be a problem. So, but I keep. That's one of the things, and I probably most likely, because I know why I had to do it. That's why when they do a concrete slab, they lay that plastic barrier over top, up underneath before they pour the concrete, because that keeps the moisture from wicking up from the thing. And I've gone round and round because, like I said, when I had the shed done, that was one of the things I thought about doing in there before I started moving stuff and getting that set up.
Yeah.
But again, when you buying good stuff or buying decent stuff, it ain't cheap. So
Right.
I kind of just said, well, I have to live without doing it because, like I said, my whole thing is, even if I even picked out the color and did what I wanted to do, I'd still have a problem with it. So I have.
It's a shame because you have a creative mind. You just can't.
You can't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I know.
And that's the thing, like with artists and musicians and even mechanics and anybody who creates anything, because I've fallen into that too. Sometimes you're in that mindset. I get it like that too. Like, I just can't. I know what I want to do, and I got the stuff in front of me. I just can't make it happen. And in other days, it's just like, oh, screw it, just cut this. Just let it fly. And if it doesn't work, you got to be in that right mindset. You really
maybe you got to change your weed dealer, get a different weed dealer.
Yeah, right. That'll do it. Oh boy.
Yeah. Usually what happens is I just finally get, like you said, I get to that limit. I get pissed off. I just get to that. Usually I get pissed off, and that's when shit happens. I mean,
I got it. I got you.
I just get to a point where it's like, okay, and you just turn the apple cart over, and
it's like jumping off a cliff. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. So
what you got to do with your cars? Have your daughters do it. Tell them what you want to do, and say, "You set it up. I'm going to the garage."
Yeah. I've done. I mean, it's true. There's times where, that's what I have to do. Because, like I said, I will move things around so much.
Yeah.
And it gets like I said, it's just ridiculous. You get to the point where you just laugh about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but
very true.
But man,
that's crazy.
That epoxy is expensive, man. Like for a gallon epoxy, 2 parts, man, you're looking at a couple $100.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, and even like, that's why, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times, like a lot of my shops, that do it, and they have problems because, there's so much prep work to make it really stick. And like I said, if you have a high humidity rate, or you got, or you don't give it time to set up, you've blown a lot of money real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps to it. Yeah. Hold on, let me grab it. I got a jug in here.
So,
I used to have a brother-in-law who made fancy tables by putting seascapes in them and lakescapes, and then 2 inches of epoxy. Of course, that was 40 years ago.
Yeah,
he was paying.
Yeah, I had a customer that did that. He made that on the side. He would do tables. He'd go out and find a slab of wood and cut it and lay it in a frame and lay it out. And then, like you said, if it had a crack going down it, he'd either put, blue, he'd put blue in it and cover it to make it look like a river or a stream running down the center. was really interesting. Heavy as hell, dude. Once all that stuff was all done, that was a heavy table, dude. That was a lot of weight.
I used where we're at Stone Coat
Yeah.
epoxy.
You get that from the weed dealer?
No,
Oh.
he might as well have been a weed dealer. It's that expensive. Crack dealer.
That was 2 parts, right?
Yeah, this is the A, I think.
Yeah.
It came in 2 parts. I got another bottle.
Yeah.
But that's a half gallon. But I bought a gallon for my countertops in the house. So this half gallon I bought for the bus. So I'm gonna take those countertops back out and then do the epoxy. You got to have it level, and I mean it's a lot of prep work.
Oh yeah, well, that's the biggest thing is, and like I said, your temperature, humidity.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot. That's why I don't know if you saw that one lady when she laid it. She had the torch. You know, she was heating it up to
get the bubbles
so you
out.
don't have no air bubbles. It's a lot of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't forget the phase of the moon, because if the moon's not right, you aren't going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said.
It's damn near magic.
Yeah.
It's a nice product though. We like it a lot. So it's been in our house for 4 years, I think. It's held up pretty good.
That's good.
You can cut on it. You can put hot stuff on it. It's nice. And you know how like your countertops feel cold? These never do. It's always feel like a room temperature. It's nice. I like it a lot. Yep. So maybe this summer I'll do the bus. I was supposed to do it before I put it in, but we were ready to go, so I just threw the countertops in and took off.
Yeah.
I had a friend that did cement countertops.
Yeah.
Framed it out like he was doing a sidewalk, and then I'm like, how freaking much does that weigh?
Yeah,
Wow.
one of my buddies did that too, and he did a real big one. Like it goes all through the house, and
I want to do that outside. I want to do that on my lower deck. I want to put a insert sleeve for I can put the smoker in, and put a concrete counter.
it's really nice.
I was thinking about doing it on the top deck, but I mean, of course, now the old deck I would have been worried about, but the new deck it ain't going. And one of the new codes here, or a few years back, we had a lot of decks falling off houses, so
that happened here too.
Yeah, so the code was the decks are basically self-standing. They're not really attached to the house anymore.
Yeah.
They're not used. So when they put my deck in, I had the what were they, 8x8s or whatever pill. He had to add 2 more because of the size, 3 more in because of the size of the deck. Because it's basically self-standing.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they'd really go anywhere. I was thinking about putting one up on the deck.
It's nice how you could add color to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
Yeah. And those are funny. Or the concrete, because it really depends on how much you work on it. I don't know what the right terminology is when you're leveling
Smoothing
it
out, whatever.
smoothing it out, because the way you bring the moisture up out of it or whatever, how you can make it like a slick top, or the type of top, so it's easier to if you want to polish it, or like you said, color it or whatever. I've watched a couple of videos on that. It's fairly interesting on how much to make
a lot of work, but it's satisfying when you're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate to have one too many tequilas and slip and fall and hit your head on that son of a bitch. Yeah. Dude, you wake up next week wondering what the F happened.
Got that right.
My luck is I chip my front tooth and be like on the fucking weekend party thing for that movie or whatever, walking around with a tooth fucking missing all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
It ain't hard to get hurt.
Nah. It's too expensive to get in trouble and getting hurt these days.
Yeah. Can't afford to go to the hospital.
Yeah, you think twice about that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think the car shows are about to start popping up. Weather's
Yeah,
starting to break.
Carlisle's going on right now, the first spring show.
Oh yeah, Paul's there.
But yeah, a buddy of mine, one of my customers, he took it was his first time going up there, and he had a Bronco 70, I don't know, maybe 77 that he redid, and it was a really beautiful Bronco, full size. You know, he did everything through and throughout, interior, painted, the whole 9 yards. And I told him, I said, you got to watch out, because I said, your first day, you're going to be dealing with sharks. And he looked at me, what do you mean sharks? And I said, dude, these are the guys that are reselling there. They're going to show you a lot of money. You know, they're going to show and they're going to buy. And of course, they're just going to resell, you know. Man, he wasn't there more than 10 minutes, and he had 3 guys throwing money at him to buy, to resell, you know, to resell. And he said, no, man, I want to wait till you know. And he ended up, the second day, he ended up, one of the guys came back by, and he ended up selling. And he said the guy didn't even get done paying him, and he was changing the number on how much he was selling it for. He was like, dude, he goes, man, I had to leave. I didn't want to stick around, because if he would have sold it for what he was asking, I would have, you know. And I was like, I told you, those first few hours there, all the good stuff is gone or being, you know, picked up from those guys and being resold.
That's terrible.
It's funny about selling cars. It's, you know, I just did that switch over with the Toyota. I left a Mazda at the shop end of last week. Yesterday, Ronnie calls me and says, hey, I got a guy here looking at the car. So to just back up, when I was leaving it there, he says, you know, how much you want to get for the car? Because he's going to be the guy that they see.
Uh-huh.
And I said, yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm not looking for a lot of money. And, you know, he goes, well, let's put it up for what you paid for. We'll put it up for $2,500. I'm like, okay. I said, if you can get 25, that'd be great. You know, car's got some rust in the back again already. And, you know, it's a beater, but it's a reliable beater. And then the next day when I came back to put the plates and take the Toyota, he's like, wow, you know, I really looked at your car closer. He goes, I think maybe we'll put it up for 15. I was like, dude, I told you. Yeah, it's got rust. People aren't going to be, you know, it's not going to, people aren't buying it as a status symbol.
Yeah.
It's really a station car. So yesterday he calls me, he says, hey, I got a guy here who's interested in the car. All right, put him on the phone, we'll talk. And of course the guy says to me, oh, what's the absolute best price you'll give me? Like how low will you go? I'm like, no. I'm like, listen, you know, it's up for 15. Give me a number. I said, make me an offer. I said, and we'll go from there. I said, I'm not going to undersell myself on my own car.
Right.
You know, it's like, how low will I go? 2,500 now. You know, so we went back and forth. And, you know, and I was like at 12. I said, all right, I'll take 12. He's telling me he's going to give it to his daughter, and he wants to fix a couple of the things that are a little annoying. And I get it. So, and like I said, I just want to move it. I'm not looking, I don't want it to sit. So I said 12, and he goes, listen, he goes, yeah, is that the best you can do? You know, I can leave a deposit today. I said, tell you what, 11 cash, and that's it. We're done. I said, you know, so he says, all right, let me see. I'll let Ronnie know. And Ronnie calls me back. Says, yeah, the guy left me $600. He's coming back tomorrow with the rest. Huh. Like, oh shit, great. He calls me this morning. He goes, you're never gonna believe it. The guy came back last night and gave me the rest of the money.
Oh shit, yeah.
So my wife was like, how the hell did you sell that car so fast? It's like, you know, nobody wants it. I'm like, somebody wanted it.
Yeah.
Because I even told the guy, you know, He's looking at it, and I said, I tell you what. I said, I know Ronnie doesn't know this, so he couldn't tell you. Open the glove box. I said, I copied all of my service notes. I had them in a book. I copied them and I put them in the glove box. I said, you're going to see that I bought the car in 05. It was only a few years old. My friend's daughter got it from a dealer as a demo car. And you'll see everything I did to it. And you're going to see majority is batteries every 4 years, and brakes, struts once or twice. I had a tranny put in it years. I had it rebuilt, earlier on. I did the cat twice, O2 sensors. You're going to see, a couple of sets of brakes. I said I had to actually put an oil pan on it because it rusted. I said, but you'll see the maintenance. And you're going to see plugs, wires. I had to do coil unplug once, twice. I said, but you're going to see no major maintenance. It didn't need it. The car was taken care of. Oil changes I did religiously. I said, right now it's gotten an emissions sticker on it. The car passed emissions, and there's no check engine light on. That alone, you could take this thing and just drive it. So I think that may be I said, if that doesn't impress you on a car that looks like it's a hunk of crap, I said, then you don't know how to buy a car. I said, honestly, because that thing, it owes me nothing, and it'll take you wherever you want to go. I didn't tell them that I think it's got a bad bar on the commutator and the starter, though. So once in a while, it doesn't start. You got to keep clicking the key. But the AC works, So I was like, I don't know how the hell that car sold. It doesn't make sense. I was like, and asked for a receipt.
But it was funny because Juan was, he stayed up there. Well, he was up there and came back. He's like, I got to go back. He goes, it's incredible walking around, just seeing all the stuff. And he goes, and what people were buying, because he's like, there was like this Impala sitting on a trailer that was so rusted. It was being held together with straps tied down, ratcheting straps that they wrapped around the car to hold the car together. But the one thing, I was like a 59 Impala or something. It was
always a 59 Impala on a trailer.
Yeah. So, but the funny part was, he said, he goes, man, the guy wanted something like $15K for it. But it had every trim pan. There was like not one thing missing from the car. It was just that it was rotted away. So it's like, if you had another car and needed all the trim and all the screws and all the interior pieces, it had everything. He said it was a complete car, but it was all held together with ratchet straps, and people were oohing and goggling over it.
You're right. If you had an Impala that was in better shape but missing the trim, and that trim now is on all cars is getting really hard to find. So but 50, I don't know about 15. That's still.
I think you got to really like 13, but they all start high. But I'm just saying. I just thought it was, Juan was just dumbfounded. He's like, dude, they had tables like of just shit laying on it and people digging through. He said this is like his first time ever seeing it.
So wait, who's Juan? The little Cuban boy that lives in your shed?
No. He's the guy that had the Bronco that took up there for the first time. He was a customer of mine that went up there.
All right. I know in a couple of weeks, on May 1st, we're going up to Rhinebeck.
Oh, yeah.
Dutchess County Fairgrounds. We're going to be going up there. We're going to go up on a Friday for the first day. They have a really nice outdoor big swap meet and a show. And I don't give a shit about the show. I just go for the swap meet. And since it's a fairground, they have the whole midway with you name it for food. Holy shit. You can really get like whatever you want up there, from funnel cakes to French fries to fondue, I guess. They have everything. It's phenomenal.
Well, that's because June is when I got my fenders, so we're coming up on a year from Carlisle.
Wow!
I can't believe how fast, how quick time goes. But that's what I think.
I can't tell you how many people I've shown that picture to of you with the fenders, because Carlisle will come up. Someone will talk about Carlisle. I'm like, I got to show you the Carlisle find of the year, and I'll show them the picture, and they're like, who the hell is that? It's like, that's Tiny. Yeah, it's my cousin Tiny. Yeah, he just goes and he buys shit like this and he throws it at people. And they're like, "Whoa, really?" I'm like, "No."
So I was going to tell Molly if she wanted to go back up I was like, man, maybe I'll have to try to work it so I can go back up there. I don't really have a list, like I said, but a buddy of mine, I tell you, man, I'm always a day late and $1 short.
Yeah, me too.
Man, I tell you, I don't even, I shouldn't even really say it, but his dad used to restore Mustangs. They did more. They didn't get into too many in my generation. It was usually 67, 68s. They did a lot of Shelbys and so forth. But I was talking to him the other day, and he's like, man, I didn't even think about you, but I just trashed a whole bunch of early sheet metal stuff.
Oh,
And I'm like,
oh.
what do you mean trash? He goes, dude, I just can't. I can't find. I'm I'm tired of all this stuff. Dad, is gone. Blah blah blah. Just fucking. And I'm like, oh my god.
So Keith, no, I'm sorry. I took to Isaac. I got a guy. One of my good friend Cliff. He's got a guy that likes to buy and sell stuff, and he'll buy cars at estate sales, and because he figures that they were pretty much taken care of before they were abandoned. And then he likes to rehab them and then, maybe keep it or maybe flip it. And he recently picked up a 914. And he did a lot of work getting it going, but it does run. And now he's actually putting it on the road. So I want to get Isaac. I want to get the guy in the show and hook him up with Isaac, give him some inspiration.
Yeah, hopefully Coach is doing better. He was in the hospital.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He had an AFib. I think that's what it came up to, was AFib.
Yeah, really?
And that's a pain in the butt, dude. I deal with my mom with AFib and going. And like I said, it's just one of those things. No rhyme, no reason. It comes on and it just it'll just throw you. And there are a lot of people will be in AFib and never even know it. Like my dad had the same problem, and he would never know that he was in AFib.
Right.
Like I said, and the more you get to be a stubborn old mule, and you're going to AFib, and you think you just work your way through it, and that's when I get the phone call at 3 a.m. that we got to go to the hospital. So
right.
Yeah, I had it, and they had to shock my heart back into rhythm.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what now? They was like, well, come back when it happens again.
I know. That's the craziest part about it, because my mom's had that. Like, we got to go shock the heart. Okay, well, what's the well, see what happens.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about one thing? One time, she had the appointment. She had been in AFib for like 3 days. She's been dealing with it. She goes in. They sit down. They sit down, they get ready, they set up everything, they're getting ready to go, and she goes back normal.
Just get scared.
And they're like, okay, well, and she goes, you didn't do anything. And they said, well, we can't, because you're back. If you have a problem, come back.
Yeah.
So, I did a stress test a couple of years ago, and like 6 years ago now, and I was having some issues that no one had diagnosed yet, but I went through the test fine. But when I laid back on the table for them to do the sonogram with the stressed heart, I started getting like that claustrophobic feeling. I had to get up, I had to sit up, I couldn't breathe. And next
Are we all back?
What was that?
Oh, we all got kicked off?
Yeah, we all got.
I thought it was just me.
I was like, okay.
We all
tell a
lost
story
faith.
about heart failure and everything just goes like, oh no.
Computer had heart failure, okay?
Yeah. So there I am on the table, kind of freaking out. I know I just got to sit up and and I'm getting hot. I feel my heart, beating faster. Next thing you know, I see a red light, then I hear a buzzer, and everybody starts doing something. People leaving the room, people coming in the room. I'm like, well, what's going on? She goes, oh, that's right. We called the EMTs. Like, for what? For you? For me? What? So I get up, took the electrodes off, test is over. I put my shirt on. I'm sitting there, waiting. And, a police officer, this woman comes in the door and she goes, all right, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. She goes, well, what'd they call me here for? I'm like, I don't know. Then a big fireman comes in, about your size, Brian. And he says, he's got a tablet. And he goes, okay, what are we here for? I said, I think you're here for me. He goes, what the hell's the matter with you? You look fine. I was like, yeah. I said, I was on that thing, the stress test. He goes, oh, they want me to get on one of them too. I haven't done it. I said, yeah, I've been avoiding it for years. He says, no, the guy's a city fireman, so he's paid, but he was out by me as a volunteer also. And his paid job, he says, because of my age and my weight, he goes, it's mandatory. I have to do it. He goes, I've been finding every excuse not to do it. So he goes, what happened to you? And I said, the test was fine. I was great with it. I said, afterwards, I had an issue. And basically the diagnosis was she diagnosed with supraventricular tachycardia, which is
SVT.
red line, you went to red line. So when I saw her the next day or a couple days later, we talked about it. I said, yeah, that's what happens. Every once in a while, I could be in a situation and I just get that claustrophobic feeling and it's like a fight or flight. So I said, there's sometimes, I could do things all the time. I work on cars. I said, then one day I'll roll under the car and it'll happen because or I'll be under a dashboard and it'll happen. But 12, 15 other times, it doesn't happen. Yeah. And she says, I know what it is. She goes, the two chambers of your heart, the electrical impulse is jumping back and forth. And what it's doing is it's screwing with the heart rhythm, and that's what sets that off in your body. Yeah. I'm like, how do we fix that? So she could do an ablation, which I really should have just done the ablation. They put me on a medication that I really don't like. And the medication also lowers your blood pressure too. But I haven't had what's that?
Change your weed dealer.
Yeah, right. So I really haven't had a problem since I'm on the medication. It works.
Yeah, I had an ablation. I had the same thing. I would just be I'll be sitting here like this, right like this, just hanging out. All of a sudden, my heart just starts going. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, that really didn't happen to me. I had to be in a situation that would make it happen. And usually it would be like at the dentist, where someone's working on me close, or if I get, like I said, under a car, I'm in a close space.
It's caused by it,
That would, but I'll tell you what, years ago, I have a history of this. I didn't even know it was connected. I was having these nightmares, and it was the weirdest freaking thing. I would wake up, and before I could even open my eyes, I had the sensation that I just took my last breath. And in that half a second, you're thinking, what are you going to do? You want to take another breath, but you can't. You can't. And then you wake up fast enough, and then you're like, you're like, okay, I didn't die. And I was having that recurringly, and I'm like, oh no, don't let this be like my new fucking pattern. Like, I can't do this. So that scared the shit out of you because you wake up thinking you're gonna die.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, terrible. And it was all because of that. That was just because of the heart. The electrical signals in the heart.
So what kind of, did they make you on a treadmill for the stress test, or did you inject? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought my sciatica was going to trip me up. So I get on the machine and I'm wiring me up. It's all girls in the office. The doctor's a woman, and they're all girls. And I said, okay, listen, girls. I said, I don't want to, scare anybody, but I want to alert you to something. I'm like, what's the matter? I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through this whole thing. I said, because if my sciatica flares up, I'm getting off. I said, I'm going to have to get off because I'm going to be in a lot of pain. I said, so I don't want to freak you out. I want to let you know ahead of time that's what's going on. I go, hey, well, what? So the girl's like, oh, I'll stand right by you. I'm like, do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you, I'm off this fucking thing if I got it. Yeah. So I'm doing the test, and we're into it for 10, 15 minutes, almost 20 minutes. And the doctor's running the machine, and I said, hey, how much longer do I got to be on this thing? She goes, oh, you're doing great. I said, yeah, well, how much longer do I got to do this? She goes, well, I want to get your heart rate up to like 120. Yeah. And I said, yeah. She goes, you're only at like, 95, 98. I'm like, okay, so what am I going to be on here the rest of the day? She goes, oh no, I'll get it up. And
Gonna
then,
increase it.
yeah. So of course I'm working a little harder, and I can see that I'm working a little harder, and it's good. So I did the whole thing. It went to 120, and then the machine's slowing down. I said, okay, that's cool. So me, of course, got to be Mr. fucking asshole. We're all the girls, right? So as the machine was slow enough, I let go and I rode it back, like a moving sidewalk, and they're like, they're all freaking out, thinking I'm not falling, I'm just taking.
Weren't you connected to all the stuff?
Yeah, well, yeah, but the leads are really long. They're really
Okay.
long. Yeah. And then I went over to the table to take the because they did the resting heart rate. Now they're going to do the stressed heart rate, and that's when I freaked out. Now they really saw. That's when the buzzes are going off, the lights are going off, everything is like, okay, I gave you your money's worth.
I've avoided all of that.
I did too for years.
Well, and I had a problem with my heart because I'd inhaled a lot of phosphoric acid.
Oh,
we were cleaning the galvanized garage that we were going to paint, but I didn't have a respirator or any protective gear.
Right.
So I go home and I'm feeling kind of stressed, and I tell my wife, I said, you need to take me to the emergency room. I said, what's the matter? I said, I think I'm having a heart attack, because what it is, I can feel my heart beating in my chest.
Yeah.
Scraping. And it's amazing when you walk through the door of an emergency room and you say, my wife walks in and says, I think my husband is having a heart attack.
Yeah, they get you right in.
Oh, God, yes. They got me right in, laid me back down, put pads on me, and did all this other shit.
Yes.
And
you go in there with your arm hanging. They're like, all right, go sit down. We'll get to you in a minute.
yeah, that's the truth. But that's not the way I want to get attention, is walking and say, I'm thinking I have a heart attack.
I just saw a video, and it was about Goodfellas, and they said when Michael Imperioli, in Spider, when he got shot in the basement, he had squibs all over him, but there was something that I don't know what it was. He had a glass when he was bringing the drink over, and it was supposed to be that sugar glass that just you crack over somebody's head, but it wasn't. Somebody handed him a real glass, and when they did to see where he gets shot in the foot and he has to fall, and he fell with the glass. It broke on the floor like it was supposed to, but now it cut like 3 of his fingers, and he was bleeding pretty good. So they rush him to the hospital and they get him in the emergency room, but he had already done the scene where they had shot him, where Joe Pesci shot him. So his chest is all full, but they bring him right in because they think he's a trauma patient and he's going to die. And they rip open his shirt and he's got all these squibs on him, and they're like, what the hell's the matter with you? He goes, oh, I'm filming a movie. I tell you, it's my hand that's cut. And they said, that's it? He's like, yeah, this is all fake. My hand got cut with glass. They wrapped up, said, go sit in the waiting room. They made him sit in the waiting room for like an hour.
Yep.
So they sent me for a stress test, and they got me on the machine, and they started doing the bit, and they keep cranking it up higher and higher, and I feel like I'm panning and doing all this other shit. And the doctor looks at it and says, drop it back down. You're not going to get his heart to go any faster. What? At that time, I was in such good shape that they couldn't get my heart to go any faster.
That's good.
It was. So they sent me home. I was happy with that.
Yeah.
I never like any tests like that. Those bother me.
Yeah.
Coach said he'd be in a little bit.
All right. Good.
Yeah, I think they asked me that too. Like when I was doing the stress test, they go, do you run a lot or anything? I go, no. She goes, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's good. She goes, yeah, we'll be able to get your heart rate up.
Yeah, like I said,
all the time.
I was really surprised that I was doing so well.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in like extraordinary shape. I was in bad shape. I've been in better shape. And I was like, You got to do something because I'm getting tired of walking.
Well,
Like,
the good news is the older you get, the less they have to get your heart rate up.
right,
It
right,
goes by age and then plus something. Because
right.
last time I go, I got to get it to like 150. She goes, when was the last time you had to stress this? I go, I don't know, years ago. She goes, well, you're older now. Now we only have to get you up to like 145. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, look, honey, if you can get it up that easy, I'm all for it. So that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
In those days, I used to jog a lot because the Air Force has a fat boy program. And if you go above a certain weight for your age, you have to go to mandatory exercise every day.
Oh, wow.
Sucks. So I jogged so I could keep my weight down.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what was going on with this fireman. He wasn't happy at all. He was like, I don't want to do it, man. I said, yeah, because you're overweight. You can see you're definitely overweight, and you know they're going to tell you lose weight, go on a diet, lose weight, and blah blah blah. But you're still doing your job as a fireman, so that's good.
Yeah.
And what he should do is pick somebody up with each hand and say, I'm that out of shape.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, there you go. That would do it. That would certainly do it.
My dad used what?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say my dad used to have an old sergeant he worked with when he was an old sergeant. And Lacascio was considered overweight in the Army. And he picked up a doctor with one hand and held him against the wall and said, you think I'm overweight, Doc?
Wow.
Straighten him out, huh?
Yeah, he did. The doctor wrote him down as acceptable.
Yeah.
Yep. So maybe next week we might have, or the week after, Dave Hayes from Hot Rod Innovations.
Oh, Dave, hey, great.
Yeah. So
Yeah, good.
he's looking forward to coming back on.
Good.
Man, he's making some nice stuff, man.
They are. They do.
Yep.
They are doing some good stuff. I like Dave.
Yep.
Guy. Very good guy.
So I'm gonna jump off. I gotta go get some food, man. I forgot to eat.
You might as well take us out, and then we'll
Alrighty.
come back and live another day.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, Brian.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian.
Take it away.
that's it.
Take us out, Brian.
Take us out, Brian. Come on, man.
See ya.
Well, we're out of here, people.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and if you are in the chat, please tell your friends and family that we talk about cars and everything else. And we will see you next week. We do it every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. See ya.
See ya.